wish I had one of those like short, fat ones that's literally like an inch long.
Mm-hmm.
But it's literally like what it's perfectly designed for.
Is that a boner joke?
No.
Perfect size, just an inch long.
I just remember like my dad was one of those guys just to get like tools upon tools for things. So like we would have just a tool drawer growing up of just like 90 different screwdrivers, and that was one of them, of just like one that was this long but this wide. Mm-hmm. It's just like a short fat screwdriver.
I was told that it's a Midwestern thing to have a junk drawer.
Really?
Yeah.
Like nobody else just has junk drawers, period? Like they just...
I don't know.
What do you do with your shit?
The thing is,
you're just that neat? You don't worry about it?
If I'm ever in another person's home in another state, it's not typically the first thing I'm going to ask them about.
Yeah. That's true, I suppose. Did you get a chance to listen to the edited episode that I posted?
Nope. It's that's one issue with having stuff in Google Drive, is that I find if I play an audio file from it, I need to keep my phone screen on the entire time.
I was going to say, mine does the exact opposite. I was actually finding it was really helpful that way, especially if it was just an MP3. I was able to just put it on, turn my phone off, and leave it for work. That's how I've been proofing the podcast.
Yeah, no, it does not work for me.
Damn, that sucks.
So I'm going to need to do... I do plan to do it on my computer tomorrow, because I can run the tab in the background. Gotcha.
You know how Snapchat, like, famously, like, is kind of Apple proprietary the way they make it, just like, oh, it works better on iPhones than it does on Androids?
Yes, no, it's also kind of a market thing. Because Apple has, like, a good, like, 50% of the market share. It makes sense to...
Right, to cater to more...
to that, and the higher-end Galaxies.
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, they get their own special Snapchat, and then, like, Google phones and, like, off... like, I don't know, the not top level phones that they're selling, instead of coding all the stuff for their, to use the camera, they just route the viewfinder aspect of the camera to the screen.
Right, they just screenshot it. Yeah, that's stupid. Which is why I thought it was like, oh yeah, they specifically did that for, it makes sense for market share though, and why they would do it for like higher phones and all that. But it's, I was just gonna say like, oh, that's kind of Google's response to it, is like, oh yeah, well, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like these ecosystems.
You don't get to view podcasts with your phone on.
I mean, technically, did we start here?
No, I don't think... Oh, I forgot that we've been recording this whole time.
Yeah.
We probably should have been a little bit closer to the mic. Well, it's a good way to segue into it, the episode that we're recording. I didn't even bring to mind any of the topics that I had fucking laid out.
Did you know that Google is finally adding a web search feature?
What do you... Google is it is the web search feature, isn't it?
They're adding a new tab for text-based web pages.
Why simply text-based ones? What's the difference? Are they going to be able to like search it better just because?
So you can look at text-based stuff. So it's titled web, and you can look for stuff on the web on Google.
What? I'm failing to understand how this is different than Google.
I would say the reason it's different from Google is Google kind of sucks now.
Okay.
You try to search something on Google. Supposedly they add keywords to your searches, like such as a search for diapers might add the keyword Huggies in there without your knowing. And if you ever Google like trying to get the answer to a question or something like that, I find that I get a shit ton of videos.
Sometimes, yeah, especially if it's like one of those if you literally ask how to, then it's it's a how-to video. Makes sense.
And I don't want a video. And there's no option. Like, there's a video tab on Google for when you want to look at videos. Yeah, and I didn't click it.
You just have to scroll down and find, like, the WikiHow where you get the steps with pictures or whatever what you want.
Yeah, it's a poor service. It doesn't do what I want it to do. It doesn't do what it used to do. So they're adding a web search feature that's titled Web. And I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, that's extremely redundant. I don't get it at all. Here,
Well,
do you mind adjusting the gain just a little bit on both of them? That was magician-like. I looked away, blinked, looked back, like when the pop filter was off, looked away, back, and the pop filter was back on. That was like, snap.
I worked as Navy tech before.
Yeah,
you know?
you're pretty good with it.
I mean, that's my explanation. Don't look deeper into it. Don't find my secret spells.
There's secret spells of AV tech.
Yeah.
One thing I was wondering, because I'm kind of guilty pleasure, are music phases really a thing? Because there's a lot of times where I listen to music that I did listen to years ago, that was, you could tell, like, phase, like my MCR phase, where I listened to a lot of different, like, angst music like that. But I still go back and listen to Welcome to the Black Parade or Teenagers, and still a good song. So it's like, was the MCR phase really a thing, or did I just find out that I liked My Chemical Romance and other bands I tried to focus on, finding what else was out there, but nothing else really stuck?
I think, typically, like, very popular bands in a genre are the more popular ones for a reason. And two, a good part of, like, the media that we consume and just, like, all art in general, I feel, is the novelty of it. Like, it aims to show you something that you haven't experienced before, at least in some capacity. And once that newness fades, something might become an old favorite instead of, like, a current favorite, The way that I listen to music a lot of the time is I will find one song that I like very much, and I will play it like 60 times over the course of a month.
Sure, yeah. I'll do it especially the way of, like, I'll have my playlist, and I'll just start the playlist with whatever song that I'm really jamming to every day. So I'll, like, have at least listen to that song once a day, but I'll let the playlist run otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Last year, my Spotify Wrapped was like, this is your favorite song of the year. It was a Tegan and Sara song, The Con. And I literally just started listening to that song a month ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd listened to it, like, I found it out from, like, Rock Band way in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it back then, but then I had another phase of it, and I was like, you know what, it's time to listen to The Con by Tegan and Sara on single repeat for an entire, like, 40-minute drive.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I was kind of the same way of, like, I rediscovered Vanilla Ice over the last year, and he was my number 2 artist, and even though I only discovered him, like, the last 2 months of the year, just because I listened to, like, 3 or 4 of his songs off his album a bunch of different times. Mm-hmm. I was just like, well, that's really funny. Who else says Vanilla Ice in the top 5?
Hell yeah. Did you start getting ads from Spotify, like Vanilla Ice having a show coming up?
Yeah, and I'll get, like, a special thank you from MGK.
Oh, man.
I don't want that.
I don't want that either. Why would...
I have one song. I have a song, Invincible, which I guess is, like, from his rap career, which he doesn't do anymore. I guess he's, like, a punk artist now or something.
Yeah, I mean, so him and Eminem had rap beef, and then after the end of that, he stopped rapping.
I was gonna say, what kind of sense does that make? Let me just start, like,
a beef.
Let me start a beef with the greatest person to ever do it, and then you lose. Oh my god. I'll always think back to when, like, Kanye West, as crazy as you might think, and when he literally just said, like, yeah, Eminem is one of the greatest rappers of our generation. Like, that means something. As someone who's, like, as self-centered and as egotistical as Kanye West, to be able to step back and recognize somebody else at all in any capacity, let alone as a great, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's something worth noting.
I'd also say that I don't think Eminem and Kanye, like, step on each other's toes at all, no. Despite being technically in the same genre.
No, Eminem doesn't do, like, anything publicly, period. And if people come and, like, try to start beef with him, he'll respond, but he's, like, just a recluse kind of guy. He did that Mom Spaghetti thing as, like, a joke, but I'm pretty sure it was just, like, a charity event. Just, like, help raise money for Detroit. Yeah. Like, that Mom Spaghetti restaurant. It was, like, a pop-up thing that he did.
There's also the, now I'm thinking of Kanye, where there was that headline, I don't know if it's real, of, like, Kanye scores 100 points against,
the wheelchair basketball league.
Yeah, like a children's wheelchair basketball team.
I don't know if that was real either. I really want to look that up, though.
It's one of those things. It's just, like, on brand enough that I don't really question it that much.
Kanye scores 106 points. No, Kanye didn't dunk on 100 on kids in wheelchairs. So it's probably, PolitiFacts, not true. It was an Onion article, most likely. Honestly, that's as far as I'm willing to look into it. It's someone just being like, yeah, it's fake. That's because, who would believe that?
There's definitely other things worth it in this life to, like, actually verify why something was wrong.
Right.
Who told the lie. Not this. This is just, like,
it's a
you
good
say
meme.
it because someone would believe it.
Right,
You know?
it's a good meme, and you're just like, no way. Like, it literally would be like something you could say on a stand-up stage or something. Like, hey, I just went from a Kanye West concert. He was bragging about dunking on wheelchair kids. How he scored 106 points. He's the greatest player in the world. Like Bo Burnham. His $90 t-shirts weren't selling well. That was most of it.
One nice thing about podcasting, I feel, is that we can just let the conversation go, like lull
Yeah.
for a moment, and then we just cut it out, and then we sound like,
Yeah, we're bing bang boom. That's especially a lot with like I think there was one time in the first episode where I just lost my place and I'd cut it out, and then when I listened back to it, I was just like, oh wow, you really wouldn't even be able to know, because I like it was like somewhere within the first 5 minutes, so I had listened to 30 other minutes of audio. So by the time I went back to proof it the second time, I was like, oh yeah, I completely forgot that I cut something out there.
Yeah,
I just had it. It was neat.
That's also something
Magic.
People like will put background music and stuff like that really low, or some type of ambience over after editing to glue it together in a way.
Yeah.
You put in a real sound that is consistently playing through that period of time where you made the cut, sort of covers it up and presents an illusion.
Yeah, I kind of envisioned some sort of like bossa nova over a crackling fire type deal. That's what I was always listening to, like when I was doing homework or trying to push through like any kind of hard time. It was very peaceful and very calming just to have that crackle and light piano going.
I'd say that's a headphones job.
Oh yeah,
Because
definitely.
if we were to play that, if it leaked through the microphone at all,
Right.
then editing becomes hell.
Exactly. That's I envisioned like we would put it in like sort of the background as like very very low, but then like bring it to a little bit when we needed transition as like a what you call it, as a quiet phase. If we were doing like a transition between topics, sort of a semicolon in audio format.
Still, if we were to cut around that, we would put cuts into the song.
Right. Yeah, no, if it ever gets to the point where I figure out how to play our voices back on headphones to where we can like hear each other talk, because I hear that's actually a really potent way of podcasting, so you're making sure you're not talking over people very well.
Yeah, well, you just do that with this bad boy, the Focusrite.
Can I just plug headphones into the back things here?
They have, so at least on my computer, in Logic Pro, there are little buttons on individual tracks for you to monitor, and then it puts it out to monitor, and monitor is either a speaker or a headphone, and then so it just, plays it directly back. And I'm pretty sure with the Scarlett, if you have a setting like that on, it doesn't actually send that signal. I mean, it does send the signal to the computer, but I'm pretty sure it just sends it back straight from the Focusrite.
Yeah, so
I'm
it
not
would just
entirely
be
sure.
It would just be a loop right to here instead of having a delay, so it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'd be able to play background music, so it'd be just in our ears, and we'd be able to just kind of vibe in that little cozy atmosphere.
Exactly.
The Club Penguin Pizza Lounge.
Yeah, that's a good track. I like that track.
Oh, it's so good. I just love, like, that's literally the exact, like, song I picture whenever I think of bossa nova and just, like, relaxing. There'd be times where I'd, like, had done a lot of, like, it was my first time of, like, I don't know, I could, like, taking time off the job because I would, like, have grinded Club Penguin, like, playing fishing and dancing and all these different things and, like, been able to buy something, and then eventually just went and sat in the pizza parlor and just, like, chatted with my friend for a few minutes, and that was just, it's a shining part of my experience playing that game.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever do the candy pizza making money thing?
I was going to say, you can, end up switching it. I forget how.
You start the game is just regular pizza making. And then on, like, the art for the, main screen, like, typically that's just completely static.
Right.
But there's a switch in the image, and if you click on that switch, it swaps over to candy.
Yeah.
And then you make more money.
Yeah, I remember that was a really big thing in, like, all of Club Penguin of, like, hidden clickables that were able to switch things around, especially in the magazines.
Mm-hmm. Those are really cool. That's a bit of a lost art.
Yeah, I remember coming back every single time a magazine would drop to try and find, like, they would always hide a Viking helmet, and sometimes the gold Viking helmet would be available. And me and my friends were going off about different, like, attires we would be able to have. That was one of the first games I got deep into. I would literally be like, it was before, like, Xbox Party Chat or anything. I would literally call my friend on the house phone and just have him on speaker, like, in front of me while we were playing Club Penguin together.
I did that with RuneScape.
It's just so wild how, like, natural Xbox party chat and all these party chatting things just became of like, yeah, that was a part of gaming. It should have been a part of gaming. This kind of communal coming together was necessary. So necessary that we were using other means to make it happen before they gave it to us.
Mm-hmm. Now we've sort of moved back to having another mean being Discord.
I mean, but I mean, it's still like specifically for gaming. Like Discord literally came out to be like, I remember its first, advertisement things like, we're going to be low latency. We're going to run in the background. We're not going to take any processing power. We're specifically designed to be able for you to run while you're gaming with your friends. And it's just like, oh, cool. Like as opposed to Skype, which was the other alternative we had, which like primarily its thing was like, we are video call for be able to connect to grandma across the country. It's like, okay, this is a much better business model that money people are looking for. And was showed. Discord has grown crazily. It's right now it's showing its it's PUBG collab that it's got going on. PUBG and Epic are a huge company. I don't know if they are Epic Games. What's the other one? Battle.eye.
Oh, you're losing me there. Battle.net?
I think
that's Blizzard.
Doesn't sound right. Crafton Inc.
I mean,
I thought it was someone more like like AAA.
No, I mean PUBG is famously like just a mod for DayZ.
That's how it started. I remember, by that guy Brandon. I forget his last name, but his name was Player Unknown.
Yeah. So I think it makes sense that it wasn't a AAA publisher or anything like that. They probably have extra deals after it came out, but I mean, publisher.
Sure. Yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was
Kratom.
Crafton, William Crafton.
Yeah.
Bite of 87. Yeah, I for some reason, I don't know why I thought it was like an Epic Games kind of thing. They came out. Weird. Well, good on PUBG for staying independent. I remember I was able to economize that game to literally pay for more video games at one point.
Ooh, from selling loot box stuff?
Yeah. So I'm like 10 cents a piece. I eventually got like a $15 Call of Duty DLC.
I've been thinking about selling a bunch of random stuff on Steam. Because you accumulate it over however long, and then you can just sell it all, the card packs and stuff like that.
Right, and you can usually sell them for like 4 or 5 cents a piece, and you have just so much of it. If you spend like 2 hours putting everything on the market, eventually, like after a week, you'll have everything sold. Give a couple extra bucks. Kind of neat.
Do you know what the card packs and all that stuff do?
They get you Steam points, and you can get like different badges for collecting full sets. That's people like Badge Hunt on Steam.
They also allow you to have larger friends lists. There's a couple of other features actually associated with having a high Steam level.
I didn't know that. That's kind of interesting.
I think it's mostly badges. But like then badges might come with, XYZ.
Right. I had no idea. That's kind of cool. I guess that's one way they kind of like gamify Steam itself. Mm-hmm. Steam is a platform I like learn more and more about, I feel, every day, because it's just like I haven't really used it other than a game launcher, period. And I learned like, it's got a whole like web browser aspect to it. It's got a social media aspect to it. It's got a lot of different like things built into it that just people, they sort of use, they sort of don't. People kind of use it for what it is, other than just like getting knowledge on Steam games. Mm-hmm. Pretty interesting.
I think it's interesting that it has a social media aspect and doesn't have a feed really. Just a public feed.
I was gonna say it kind of does on the isn't it called like the Discovery? I forget. Well, like they show like the Steam streamers who are doing like that shit. I forget where that's at, but they have something like that. Is it on just news?
Well, I can't. I'm just saying I can't make a Steam post that'll go on the Steam timeline.
Right, on like the Steam homepage. Yeah, that's true. At least not any way that's like They have that for each individual game because you have like your community post you could do that with, but yeah, you can't do that for Steam at large. That's true.
So I like when I think it's more interesting to remove an aspect of an idea like a social media website than it is to try and add something as a twist.
Yeah, it's cool, but adding something as a twist, speaking of, is a great thing that I really actually enjoy with Steam games, is when you go to look at a Steam game on its page, a lot of the times it'll bring up someone who's streaming that exact game. So not only do you have to be able to look at gameplay features or gameplay trailers and whatnot, but you can see somebody who's in the middle of the game playing exactly what the gameplay would be like. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
And it's right there. Like, just click right there. Easy.
They're definitely subtracting some things and adding some things. I think the subtraction is just more interesting, more compelling. It's just a more interesting decision to make.
Because it's definitely not needed. Like I was saying, people don't really use the Steam social media features a whole lot. So when they subtract things, it's not like people are clamoring for them back. It's just like, all right, well, oh well. We can't do this kind of posting on Steam. We don't use Steam for that anyway, so I guess that's fine. We'll just keep our community forum posts in the communities. If we need something bug fixed for Left 4 Dead 2, somebody's probably posting about it.
I also remember with the stream on the games page, when we were first starting our Barotrauma run, or at least one of the earlier sessions, there was a developer stream going on for it, and it was just mainly all you could see was a dude sitting there wearing a captain's hat. And I was like, this is kind of exactly what I expected. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm completely satisfied with that.
Right. Just sitting there commanding us a little captain's hat, maybe a little bubble pipe.
Yep.
Perfect.
Role-playing.
I would absolutely love that. Microsoft Office. I remember... It's weird having the memories of it being a subscription service, because I remember it was back in the early 2000s, I think, that it first became a subscription service, where it was a yearly subscription.
Really?
I believe so, because I remember having to write a lot of papers in school, and that was a thing of my mom had to go and buy an Office subscription, because she was also in college at the same time, so she had to write. And I remember it being weird, well, it's not just a program you get to download and then keep anymore. Oh, well, weird. I guess that's their prerogative, I guess, but I was so young. I didn't understand. They were fucking ruining shit.
Oh, I mean, they didn't keep up I think they had a subscription option for a while.
I think it still is a subscription service.
I think they remade it into a subscription service when we were in college. Because I remember having a Microsoft Office that was a permanent program in high school. Then the shift was when they introduced Office 365, which is just this is just a subscription thing.
And it's bundled everything with Office.
Yeah. I hate subscriptions.
It's stupid, especially for something that's literally just a program. I wonder, I want to see the analytics of how much the user base went down, because right around that time was the worst time to do it, because Google Docs and Sheets and everything is coming to the rise, and how perfect would that be for college collaboration to be able to cloud save and use everything? It was the perfect time for people to be yeah, go away, Microsoft. I wonder how much of a hit they took from that.
Well, I just think they're shifting markets. I mean, they've always been a part of, Office is,
yeah,
office
the
work
professional
and stuff
market.
That. And I mean, if you get a company as a client to pay for a bunch of subscriptions, that's kind of what they're going for, I feel.
Yeah, I suppose they went less from what would you call it, to the common man, and more to, like you said, in the businesses.
Yeah,
with
going from consumer to corporate.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know enough about economics to say the correct words, but
right.
You get the idea.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting shift, and I wonder, even if oh yeah, you're saying they do have the contracts for those offices, I wonder how much money they would have lost, or they lost just from, because almost everybody I knew had Microsoft Office on their computer, when they were growing up, every single school I went to had it on there, which is probably another thing were able to get contracts for, but everybody had it at their home too. So I wonder.
I think Google is definitely the better consumer option right now. Again, it's just free. Just do all the things you need to, and it's free.
Right.
If you have anything more complicated than that, then pay someone money.
Not only do all the things you need to, but do all the things you need to in a virtually one-to-one copy of Microsoft Office's UI. They don't change anything. Even the position of where the page alignment is, left, right, center. It's all the same exact place, all the same exact shortcuts. You don't have to learn anything new for it.
Well, there is one particular thing that I find unsavory about Google Docs, and that is you don't have an option to put the word count on the document.
Yeah, you
that is a separate window that you need to open up in the task ribbon or whatever it's at the top.
You can hotkey that window though, so you can just...
You can hotkey it, but it's not just there.
Yeah, I wonder why not. That's a weird kind of quality of life thing.
That would be stepping too far on Microsoft toes.
Yeah. Then they're sending the dump trucks full of pennies.
Yeah,
suing them.
The ultimate transgression.
So many things that transition to subscription services now. I just remember thinking back to that, being man, that's a weird thing. But I guess it's I don't know if I understood at the time. Yeah, I guess a lot of schools and places need this, so it makes sense that they're going to have to pay for it. Kind of WinRAR was another thing that I used a lot when I was a kid for like.
Paid for that?
No, I didn't pay for it. It was
Okay.
something that, like, even as a kid, I knew, like, oh, they're going to charge you the free trial, but you can just get away with it because enough offices are going to actually pay for it and not steal it, quote unquote, that it doesn't matter. So that was just something I kind of knew from all the emulating of Super Nintendo and Game Boy and stuff that I did. So I guess it was like, oh, they're going the WinRAR route. They're just banking on people are going to want to pay for it for companies, but that's it's strange. I didn't realize that it would be like a modern thing for especially video game companies, but a lot of other things now to do too. Streaming services, Meat.
Yeah, Meat subscription.
I have a Meat subscription. It's actually pretty sweet just because meat around here is a little iffy.
Yeah, I mean, also you got like the sign-up bonus with free chicken wings for life, so
Yeah, I get a
kinda
crazy
adding to
deal
the
for
value
it.
there.
It's chicken wings, bacon, and ground beef. You get all three of those free.
Oh, wowza.
So I got 3 different deals. I literally got a free for life deal, then canceled it, then another free for life deal, then canceled it, then a third free for life deal, and I've kept it since. And they tell me I can't get any more promotions.
That's reasonable, but
Because like,
they can't take it away now.
I think it's like their medium sized box is 9 like selections, and their small size box is 6. But I have the small size plus all the free, so I basically just get like an extra $70-$80 worth of food for free.
That's how you get them.
I say fools, you're fools for giving those what you call it deals out.
Let's hope nobody from unnamed meat delivery service listens to this podcast.
Was it you that was telling me though? It was kind of like a good business venture because they don't really do those kind of deals anymore. But it was something that like it got me on there and it got me hooked, and I'm a lifetime customer since doing that. So I mean, like it was a really good business tactic for them, even if it does hurt them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of businesses, they got to take loss somewhere.
Right.
And I feel like, I mean, it could have backfired on them entirely. You know, every single consumer could just be you.
Yeah,
And then
true.
they would probably not like the position they're in.
They just had to hedge their bets that there would only be one me in this
Yeah.
area. Fools.
Another thing about, I don't know, companies pissing me off. Amazon is, I would say, the biggest contributor to changing the hazard lights into the fuck you, I park where I want lights.
Oh yeah, just like they turn them on and then they just stop the car and get out type deal.
Yeah.
Especially in the city, I'll bet that's fucking annoying.
I swear, I would, if there was a movement for it, I would definitely join it to like crack down on laws preventing people from just stopping in the middle of the road
Yeah.
to do whatever, you know? Like, it's just so frustrating. I lived on a one-way street, and there's only a single lane to go down, and we would get USPS mail there,
Right.
delivered by a walking mail carrier.
Because you just park at the end of the block and be like, yeah, fuck it, not worth trying to get the truck down there.
No, I'm pretty sure it's just, like, they just have the big ol', bucket on wheels. It's like a wheelbarrow of mail, almost.
They just take that from the mail, like, what, the post office to your house?
No, like, I'm assuming they have, like, a set area. Like, my entire neighborhood. Maybe it is from a truck, yeah, but, like, the truck wasn't at the end of my street.
I was just saying, you just think someone's wheelbarrowing the mail out like it's the fucking old times? Like, oh, just gotta go from house to house, dude.
Well, they are going from house to house.
Yeah, but they have, like, their truck and their little bag, and they usually have, like, all right, well, this part of the route contains, I assume, anyway, I'm not a mail carrier, I don't want to point this out, but it would just make sense to me. They have their truck of, like, all of the mail. They get to a zone where they're like, all right, it's gonna have this much, mail, put it in my bag, house to house with the bag, back to the truck, repeat till all the zones are complete.
I'll say that makes sense, but I never saw the truck, and therefore...
Maybe you just parked a little far away. I don't
Until
know.
you mentioned it, it's never crossed my mind. But either way, I mean, there's no way in hell that they left the truck in the middle of the street while doing this.
True, yeah, no, they most likely parked it, I would assume. That'd be a real dick move to just be like, yeah, whatever, I'll just block traffic.
Mm-hmm. Like, buses are okay, especially because most of the time that they're doing this, it is only a single lane on a many-lane road. But, like, I don't know, man. Anytime I see an Amazon truck parked in the middle of the street with their hazards on, even if I'm not stuck behind them, I feel as though something deeply wrong is happening in our society.
I feel the same way about just, like, construction workers that just have so much of the road blocked off for seemingly no reason. Like, there'll be 3 miles of, like, orange pylons and everything, and then after that 3 miles of just empty lane and nothing there, they'll be like where they parked their cars. And then a mile after that is where they're like filling a pothole. And then there's another 3 miles ahead. And they're like, maybe they have a few more potholes and maybe they had a couple potholes behind them. But just the amount of wasted space like that they could like purposefully bottleneck traffic with. It's like, I get you want to be safe, but that's just ridiculous.
I mean, honestly, I'm not even upset about that. Personally,
I am. I drive on I-80 every day.
They work for the city or the state or something, you know? Or maybe not exactly, but they're
contracted at the very least, yeah. I don't know. I just hate it. I drive on I-80 every day, and it's just nonstop traffic.
Yeah. I consent to road construction. I would actually prefer to just use my car less than to,
facts.
You know, try and get all uppity about that. But when it's a private company doing something not for the state, not for me.
Lickety split.
Yeah, get out of here. Shoo.
The amount of times like where they'll have to spend an entire day, I guess on a highway too, it's like it's a whole different mess of like regulations and whatnot to be able to fill a pothole even, but like you'll see them do it in like a side street near a school in 2 hours. It's just like how can you not at least like after circumventing everything off just get like the bulk of your work done in that same time frame? Why is this a whole day long excursion?
Well, I will also say those side streets near the schools, those type of fixes don't last very long. As someone who grew up pretty close to a school,
that's a fact too. Yeah,
you did too.
Yeah,
but those are definitely not built to last. They are built to assuage the masses.
Yeah, the school districts I went to, for the record, were like sort of new, so I never saw any horrible stuff on the outside. The inside though, did have to clean a lot of schools that were like 30 years of wax buildup. That was fun. We literally take one of those like ice scrapers you just scrape your driveway after pouring straight stripper on the floor, because they tell you on the bucket like dilute this 10-to-1 to be able to scrape the wax off, and that just wasn't cutting it. So we were just like straight stripper on the floor and then use ice scrapers. We'd get 5-gallon buckets full of just sopping wet wax.
The most like bad for your health mixture you could possibly make.
Dude, it's so funny that you say that too, because one of the guys I work with, Jesse, took all that shit and he said like, "Oh yeah, I think I can make these into candles. I'm gonna sell them."
No.
And I said, "What are you gonna tell people that they smell like, Jesse?" And he's like, "Don't matter. People are gonna want to buy these candles." And he took the buckets home with him, and I'm like, Jesse, no.
Well, did you buy one?
No, I never asked about that wax ever again. A week later, he came back just a little bit dejected after a weekend, and he was like, I went up about 300 on dice, went down 400 on cards. And I was like, this is just a regular weekend for you. Just going to gamble out that shit, trying to make some money off candles. Just hustling whatever way you can. God bless you, Jesse.
I remember my mom was saying something about, like, maybe scented candles being unhealthy for people, which, I don't know, maybe... It's just one of those things you end up seeing on the internet. Jesse's candles would not be healthy for you.
Absolutely not. Those are just carcinogenic. I'm pretty sure candles themselves do like produce some amount of pollution, which I guess makes sense because it's literally like a flame burning off wax and whatever else the wick is made out of. Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm glad you said the flame burning off wax. Not everyone knows that part.
Yeah, it melts the wax. It's kind of the whole point. It burns it off, but it's just like whatever residue is left kind of melts down.
Yeah, I've seen enough people on TikTok being like, where does the wax go?
In the air. You get to breathe it.
Yeah.
Buddy, that's kind of how it works. You know that scent you're smelling? My mom got these candles one time. I think they were from Menards, which was a fucking great place to get candles. But they were the gel type candles. I don't know if you've ever seen them. To where they have like a gel, like... I guess coating around the outside, and they just have a regular wax candle and like kind of encapsulated in it. So it looks like, I think we had a fish scene where it was like starfish and fish going around it, and it looked kind of 3D because they were able to be in and out of the gel. And the candle inside was lit and smelled like ocean spray and whatever. So it was perfect. When my mom put that in the kitchen, and I'm in my room playing video games, and I just come out to get a snack or whatever, and that candle is in flames. Just like touching the ceiling, and I'm just like, I just fill up like a saucepan that I was about to make like ramen with, and just like throw it on the candle 3-4 times, and I was just like sitting there in a smoking pile in my kitchen. I was like, what did you just do? Like, what did you bring home? What kind of bomb you fucking setting off here? Why did you buy a fucking $20 Menards candle?
I mean, it burned fully. You know, that's kind of something you want out of candles. It didn't tunnel. You kind of got to pick your battles here.
That was about 5 seconds away, I think, from burning my house down, because it was about 2 feet from curtains and shit like that. Like, it was in the middle of the kitchen, like, about to get caught up in everything. I was like, oh my, I was 5 seconds away from not saving my family from a house fire. Fucking gel candles. Stay away from them. They recalled them for a while and then brought them back. Like, we definitely took all the burn parts out. I was like, I'm not trusting that shit. Never taking a gel candle again. Fuck you.
Fair enough. I've seen those little things that they're like Orbeez in a jar that are full of like some evaporating scent thing. I've seen wax melts,
I've seen those,
which
like,
I don't
Febreze
think
ones.
works at all.
I like the essential oil diffusers. Those are nice.
Essential oil diffusers are cool. The wax melts just piss me off though, because we've already covered. The candle burns the wax, and then you get the smell.
Right. That's how you get. You kind of got to inhale the wax, a little bit pollutant.
If you just sit it on top of a hot plate, hot enough to melt it, but it doesn't burn it, is it even doing anything? Or do you just have like a precarious bowl of hot wax sitting next to an outlet in the corner of your house?
I know what those motherfuckers... those are the things, like, people literally have, like, the stacks of wax on because they're just, like, so dirty. I remember seeing those things. They almost look like Himalayan salt lamps.
Oh, I'm talking about, like a 4-inch tall little thing that you stick into an outlet, and then it, like, it has, like, a little ceramic bowl thing on top, and you set a cube of wax in it.
I thought you were talking about, like, a bigger hot plate one that people just, like, use to melt wax on. Because I think I've seen those where people have just left them so dirty where they literally look like just some kind of monstrosity. Like I said, almost like a Himalayan salt lamp.
Yeah.
Are those real? Are those, like, a thing?
Himalayan salt lamps?
Yeah.
So here's my take on it. There's a lot of stuff around there like, it, like, atomizes the air, ionizes the air, or something like that.
Oh, I had no idea.
I'm gonna say all that's bullshit. And I definitely don't think the, like, proportion of positive or negative ions in the air is, like, gonna affect your mood, which is kind of what the argument is.
Oh.
But it looks nice.
It does look nice. It is a nice little piece.
Having a nice little cute thing in your apartment will probably make you happy.
Yeah.
So it does work.
I didn't realize it was like one of the little, like, mood crystal things was part of the argument for it. Like, yeah, it'll improve your mood and all these different.
Well, weird. I mean, you got any type of pretty looking rock, it'll be sold as that by somebody.
True that. The power crystals.
Yeah.
Were mood rings ever real? Remember those as a kid when you, like, put them on, like, and they change colors? What was the deal with those?
It's just like a heat sensitive.
Oh, yeah?
Plastic, I think.
Oh, it felt like metal.
It's like plastic inlaid in metal, I believe.
I'm gonna Google challenge this. What the hell was in mood rings?
What year did John Mood Ring invent them?
The crystals in the mood ring are coated with a liquid crystal that reacts to heat by twisting and turning. When the crystals twist, they reflect different wavelengths of light, which your eyes perceive as different colors. So you were kind of right.
Yeah, it wasn't a plastic though.
It was like liquid crystal, which is weird. I was gonna say, I remember it being like something that could, like, wiggle in there, almost like a magic 8-ball. Kind of neat.
Yeah, I guess that is pretty cool that it's like a refraction thing with the crystals moving, but it is just heat sensitive.
Yeah, so
then you just ascribe, like, different meanings to the different colors that can be there, and then you sell it.
Right, I was gonna say, especially if once you learn it, you could probably just fuck with it a little bit and be like, oh look, I'm anxious. Shit like that.
Use that to get out of, like, as an excuse to get out of something.
Right.
As evidence. Look, you can see my ring.
I'm
I
anxious
really
as hell.
need to, like, go home and take a nap right now. I'll show you the chart.
It's just look, I have the card that came with it.
Yeah. Says you're a bad boss if you don't let me.
Oh, that'd be gold. Somebody tries to get out of work with a mood ring.
Sometimes I just want to make up bullshit excuses to see if they're funny enough to be allowed. I don't know. Like, sure, why not?
You know, that's good enough that I don't care that you're lying. Show up in a safari outfit, like, with a 50 gun strapped to your back. Like, all right, there's an elephant out there. It's needing of poaching. It's causing torment. They called me in. I got to take the day off.
I'm about to get on a flight.
Yeah, I'm about to get a flight out to Zimbabwe. Listen, I don't really have a lot of time to explain. I just need the day off. Just got the hat and everything. Just like standing in his office, like, are we good to go or what? Am I gonna hear about this when I get back?
Apparently, big game hunting is a separate thing from poaching. Big game hunting is like fully legal.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and it's managed by like conservationists, where they're like, yeah, that rhino's an asshole.
Yeah,
like you can kill that rhino.
They are. I was gonna say a lot of the times they are done by wildlife conservationists, where they're like, oh, especially because we have kept these animals in captivity, they've lived a little bit longer than they would have in nature, so they've become a little infertile, but still pose a threat to the other males. So they're kind of just like literally useless. They're just there to cause harm and not be able to, procreate or anything. So yeah, those. I think it was bison in America actually was like one of the most more recent ones. Where they were able to go and hunt them, because there was one that was just like killing other male bison while being infertile, trying to mate with others. So it's like, okay, gotta go, bud.
The incel rage.
Essentially, yeah. Except he wasn't involuntary, so I guess he was.
At that point, late in life incel.
Well, he wasn't celibate though, because he was trying to have sex, he just couldn't like fire the loads correctly, I guess.
Yeah, he couldn't successfully do it.
Yeah, but celibacy is like, involuntary celibate, like you absolve from sex, That old bison wasn't absolving from sex, I don't think. I haven't looked too deep into it, but that was part of the reason they had to hunt him down.
Yeah, show me the video evidence.
Show me him banging and no babies coming out.
Show me from 3 different angles.
Show me his mom's testimony that he did it. Well, we've been going for about 45 minutes. You want to call it as a good first episode there? Or try to go for an hour? We could go for a little bit longer.
Why not? We can cut it here.
Thanks for tuning in to what probably might be episode 3. We might get rid of 1 or 2 episodes at the start. Who knows?
Yeah, I definitely feel like of our first episodes, I want to cut one of them. Without even really fully listening to either of them. It's just like, I just know that I wasn't consistently on my A game. I will say the second one, there was a point where like you got closer to the mic partway through, so like 20 minutes of your audio are kind of unusable. So it might be the second one that ends up getting on the chopping block. Yeah, that's completely fine. That's
But we have such a good. Oh, hold on, I gotta find out what was the thing that I wanted to bring up from that episode that made me laugh so hard.
But we can cut the recording.
Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you.